We had Jimmy Johnson and Tony Dungy yesterday. I was really glad to hear Coach Dungy yesterday. He had such a great time. So let's start it out here. Let's bring in our friend Garry Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. G Cobb, I got to throw this at you right away. I want to show you this. The Eagles were third in time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
And last year they were 29th in offense. What do you think is more likely to happen with this Eagle offense this year? Saquon Barkley going for 2,100 yards, or the Eagles improving the passing game where they can improve this offense and get a little bit more balance? What's more likely in your estimation?
I think they're going to improve the passing game. I don't think they can feed Saquon as much as they did him a year ago, and I think that's why you got A.J. Dillon. That's why they went out and they got them a back who is a big physical back like Saquon. He's not as fast, but he's a big physical back who I think that they could work him where he's carrying the ball. Let's say he's running the ball 7-8 times a game. But I don't think you can feed Saquon, at his age. I think that they want him to stay around as long as possible. You can see that with the deal that they gave him, the extension. But they cannot feed him the ball that much. I mean, he's a guy who he's not a spring chicken right now.
Over 400 touches a year ago that he had counting the playoffs.
That's, you just can't expect him to be able to continue at that load. It opens the door to so many things, which is, injury, of course, which, you got to play, but you can't worry about injuries. They happen. But I think that, I know A.J. Brown because he basically said it. but they can do more in their passing game, and they've got to grow. And that means, of course, Jalen's got to grow. But there are a lot of situations they've got people in where, look, because they got that running game aimed at them like a gun, because they've got the running game aimed at them, teams can't do as much in their defense in the secondary. So I think that limits what they could do and really puts them in a situation. And you also got to worry about, Jalen running with the ball, having to worry about all those things. It limits what you can do in pass defense. And that's why I expect them, and they got to grow in their passing game if they want to, if they want to win it again. I don't think that they're going to be able to rely as much because, like I said, it's, Saquon is human. Okay, he cannot carry the ball, but so much it's going to wear him down. And of course, like I said, you opening the door to injury. I think they've got to lean more on their passing game. And the thing about it is, they got the weapons to do it. They got the weapons to do it. We're going to see what they're going to do at tight end. They're making all of the kind of sounds and things like Dallas Goedert might get moved. You see, they went out. They got some free agents. They got one guy who's a better receiver. The other guy's a better blocker. It's a way of trying to at least have something there. But the thing is, they got some outstanding receivers. They've got to be able to lean on them and lean on Jalen to the point to where they can lean on that passing game more, because they cannot feed the ball to Saquon and rely on the running game. Now, they're still going to be a running team, but I think they've got to be able to do more in the passing game.
Garry, if you were Vic Fangio in the organization, would you leave Cooper DeJean in the slot, or would you move him out the corner?
I think he helped them more in there at the slot because the guy will tackle. Look, I mean, I kid with some of them when go to the locker room. Go like, oh, hey, don't start running there. There's a tackle over there's got to be made. Those corners don't want to tackle, man. I mean, they're just not. It's just gotten to where more and more, they're out there playing, pass defense, and they're not crazy about tackling. You got a kid here who's got good size. He's willing to tackle, and the kid is smart too. He's got a great the instincts for football, which is, when you're in there in a way, you're playing linebacker.
Yeah.
You look.
He's like Kyle Hamilton and John Lynch back in the day. Where get this, I said this,
but the son of a gun can run.
He can, and you know what, too? I mean, I'd rather have him in the middle of the field where the action is than over on the numbers, because I got to tell you, Gary, there's a part of me that likes Cooper DeJean, more of an impact player. I'm not saying Q is not going to have an impact career.
Yeah.
But, boy, I got to tell you, I like that kid in the middle of the field, covering tight ends and covering running backs out of the backfield. I think he shrinks that zone there, doesn't he?
I like him because he's got a good feel for it. He plays zone very well. You see how he could looking at the quarterback's eyes and breaking on the ball, and then he's got a good job of being able to take on a block, get off a block. Seen him do all those things. You don't see that very much in the NFL anymore, where you got guys in that nickel because guys that can run and are corners, they're not crazy about tackling people, and they got this kid who's able to do it. I know people would be interested, want to see him outside and everything. And if they did have him play outside, see, you play so much nickel, it's not like he doesn't play as much as the corners, because you play so much nickel. It's not like it used to be, where you would have a guy who's one of your better players. You're going to have him play corner, and then when you go nickel, you have him slide in there and play nickel. But they play so much nickel, he's going to be out there anyway. And then he's a good blitzer too.
Yeah.
So he does all those things. And now if you found another kid who can do these things, you could think about moving him outside. Where's the guy at? I haven't seen him over there.
Gary, so you don't think they have cornerback number 2 on the roster right now?
Well, no. I quarterback number 2 could be on the roster. Ringo. What's his name? Kelly Ringo.
Kelly Ringo. You think he can take that role there?
He could. He's a big kid. He's got the skills. He's seen things enough. He should be biting at the bit to get in there, because the kid's got the physical tools. You don't know if he's got the feel for the game and everything. We'll have to see about that. But tools wise, you got a big kid that can run. That's what you got in Ringo. So,
and he's 21.
Come on. Yeah, I mean, I could see where they're going to let him grow. And then the thing about it is that they don't ask you to be on. You're not out there on your own, but so much.
You're in a too high zone. You're not asked to go, man.
That's right. Not as much as other teams.
Yeah.
Now they will play man. They do. But it's not where they're just living in it, see?
No.
So, if a kid over there, if he just plays smart football, and that's what, you hope Ringo can do that. But he has the physical tools, because he can run, and he's as big as any of the DBs,
Gary, let me ask you, playing the linebacker position, what do you make of Trotter? What do you think of him as a prospect? What do you think of him as a player? I mean, I had a conversation with Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy's a consultant for the Jags, and he said one thing about him. He goes, his instincts are great. I mean, he understands the position.
Yeah,
he's just too slow, man. I mean, he's got to improve in his speed, but you could tell that his pop has prepped him for understanding the position. I mean, can you get away with that if you know where to go, Gary? Can you get away with that if you don't? Because the game is played in so much space today.
That's right.
Can he get away with that not being a 4-5 guy?
Well, especially, like you said, the way they play the game today. A linebacker has to cover more space now. He's and so being able to run, and that's why Bourne, son of a gun, can run. That's why he was able to step in there. But I do think, that Jeremiah Trotter Jr., he does have a great feel for the game. The kid is smart. And so a lot of times he's anticipating things. And that's the reason I think he can, because, when I look at the kid that was here before, what is it?
Burks?
No, not Burks. The kid that was here the year before that went out to
Kaiser White?
It went to Chicago.
Oh, TJ
Edwards, yeah. Now, when I see him, I see Trotter Jr. You know,
Huh.
he's not that fast. I don't think he's any faster than him, but he's always anticipating everything. He's smart, and therefore he's a step ahead. And that's the way he's got to play because Trotter Jr. He is not a burner. I don't know what they timed him
you
in.
see some of the similarities in TJ.
I see some of the similarities. Yeah, because both smart players.
Yeah.
They don't have the great, physical tools, but because they're smart, they're good to have out there because they keep everybody else thinking. And, he's able to be in position because he's a step or two ahead of everybody, thinking wise,
I want to throw this at you here, and I want
to. But they are going to go at him. If he goes in there, they're going after him because, with Bourne now, they're going to challenge the other guy.
Absolutely. Here, let me throw this at you here. You and I don't think people understand. We don't look at numbers like, well, those are stats. You and me look at trends because we used to get a trend book every Wednesday when it came to game plans of what teams like to do and what a player likes to do, what a quarterback's favorite plays are, who they are. I want to show you this here on who Jalen Hurts is for the last 4 years. He averages 3,238 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 9 picks, 64.4 completion percentage, 93.5 quarterback rating, 692 yards rushing. This is in a 17-game average, 12 rushing TDs, 150 attempts rushing a year, 4.6 in carries per year. For people to be thinking that this guy's going to be a 4,500-yard passer, that's not what he is. Yeah. But Gary, this is winning football. This right here actually now is championship football. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, 2 NFC champ, that quarterback doing this, okay? That quarterback doing this has resulted in 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl. I say this to improve the team. If they get 3,300 passing yards and 22 touchdowns, 8 picks, 68 completion percentage, 650 yards rushing, 14 TDs. They'll win 15 ball games just with this amount of improvement in the offense. Yeah. What I'm saying is they don't really have to improve that much for the team to get better. Now, the defense has got a lot of questions, but that offense, we're not looking like he's got to carry the entire football team.
Well, I know their schedule is going to be tougher, though. See, their schedule is going to be tougher. And, I don't, you can't ask the defense. I don't think they'll be as dominant as they were last year. So we need him to we're going to put the ball in his hands a little more though, where he's going to be able to throw in the ball, and of course he can utilize his legs and everything, but he's going to be throwing the ball a little more. And the thing is that I think he's going to feel a little bit better. He's going to have seen. He's going to be playing really in the same offense. Not going to be making any changes necessarily. Where you got a guy who was here as one of the assistant coaches, so you're going to be running the same offense. So he doesn't have to make a big jump. No, he doesn't have to big jump. But the big thing he's done is he got in the field for, of course, taking care of the football. That's the number one thing, is take care of that football. But he's got to feel more comfortable. He's got the same receivers out there with AJ and Devontae. We'll see about Dallas, but I think that you could expect he needs to make some improvement, but I don't think he needs to just totally reinvent himself. No, I don't think he does.
Couple last ones here for you, Gary. What do you think is the biggest position that will be the toughest position to replace with the guys? Right guard with Becton, defensive end with Milton, edge with Josh, strong safety with CJ, or Slay at the corner. What do you think is the toughest spot that they're the most concerned with right now?
Well, I in looking at what I see, Milton Williams to me is going to be the guy that, because they're going to double they're going to double Jalen Carter. They're always going to try to double him.
Or doubles are coming, I think, too.
Yeah, they're going to try to double. They need a guy. That other defensive tackle he's got to be making some noise. He's going to be single blocked. So I think that guy there, Milton Williams, he made noise. When he was single blocked, he made some noise. Make the quarterback move. You got to beat that guy, that single block. You got to beat that. I think they need a guy there. I think that's what they're probably looking for in this draft. They try to get him in. I wouldn't be shocked, they'll give up some of those 5th-round picks to move up there and get that guy that they want in that first round, a defensive tackle who can beat that single block while Carter's being doubled. They need a guy that, he was able to do it, because if you have somebody flash in the quarterback's face, he's either going to move, he's going to hold the ball, whatever. If you can get at least some pressure, feel some pressure in his face. So I think that's probably where they're going to look first. But, I'm guessing they could go after a outside pass rusher, with that first pick. But I definitely think that I personally think it's going to be that defensive tackle, because that's why Milton Williams got all that money, man.
No.
Dude got all money. He beat that single block, and he made an effect on the quarterback. He affected the quarterback. And I think that whoever comes in there, look, they're not doubling you. You single block, dude. You're going to be single block. They're doubling Carter. You got to make some noise.
Well, let me ask you this, though, with Vic's system.
Yeah.
Vic plays a 2-high safety.
Yes.
How important is the loss of Gardner Johnson in that 2-high safety? Because, you got to think about it. The defense is based on those safeties, aren't they? Cornerback play is essential.
Yes.
Isn't it? Don't you agree that Cooper DeJean's play had a lot to do with the continuity back there, especially with the 3 guys in the middle of the field? The 3 guys were as good as any time they've had in Philly in the last 25 years, when you've had CJ, Cooper in there, and you had Reed. Those 3 guys patrolled the middle of that zone, or at least the top end of that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And they shrunk that zone down because Gary, look what they had last year. The linebackers are so good and versatile. They could shrink that zone down from what they did in 23 to where you didn't have a lot of space across the middle of the field because the way your safeties played and the way the nickel played. Gardner Johnson's position, don't you think that's going to be a tough one to replace?
Well, he was playing over the top, that too deep. Sometimes, he was coming up and things. I'm really just kind of leaning on them with this, because why did you let the guy go? I'm going like, don't you have enough problems? Look, if Gardner Johnson, at times he's running his mouth. Who cares? The dude shows up on Sunday. That's what we need. We can deal with headaches all week as long as we feel better and we feel good when we're walking out there on Sunday before the game. So we got to see, who they're going to put in there, and are we going to be comfortable with that guy? Is that guy going to be able to step in there and do the job right away? Because that is a very important position in the defense that he plays. And come on, he had 6 picks. He might have, like I said, he at times, you get tired of his mouth, but so what? Get some earplugs.
Hey, I got a last one here for you. If you were playing right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, who would you have more respect for in the locker room, Vic or Nick?
You said Vic or Nick, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I think Nick has come a long way.
I think he's improved too. I do. I think he's improved too. I do.
Yeah. Just by having that composure,
Hey, by the way, don't you think that maybe Fangio and Kellen Moore had an impact on his sideline demeanor and behavior last year as well?
I think so. I think you're definitely right on that. But if I were to go with one or the other, man, that's tough on. I would have to say that's just really close because both of them, with Nick has come a long way. But Vic, come on, look what he did for the defense. Golly.
Yeah, but Vic's gonna make me a better. You know why I would look at Vic? Vic's gonna make me a better player.
Yeah.
Now you have to have your head coach like you because it's his team. I mean,
That's right.
you can't just go fuck the coach. I mean, I'm gonna only listen to. That's not how that works, and you and I know that. You have to have you have to have respect for your head coach, but Vic is the guy, the intermediate that's dealing with me and going to make me a better ball player. So maybe it's a loaded question too, Gary.
It's a tough question because I tell you, Nick did a great job with the way that he's keeping everybody just keeping everybody focused, and with some of the things that he stresses over and over, and talking about the whole mindset about what you're doing and everything. And the guys buy into what he's saying. I mean, so I wouldn't want to diss Nick because I think he's grown into the job, man. The guy, he's really grown and he's gotten better and better. And, you got to give people credit who in front of everybody. It's easy, where, you got the heat on you, but when you got everybody looking at you and everything, and you got to make some changes, it takes guts to do that. And I give Nick a lot of credit.
I'll tell you what. Our friend Bob Brown has a great dynamic, and he just said it. Do you think that without the animosity, do you think you're looking at the same kind of dynamic you had in Chicago in '85 when you and I were in the league, that you had Buddy Ryan and Mike Dickham, and you had Nick and Vic, where they're kind of two different units? One guy runs the offense, the other guy's right. Isn't it kind of like that now?
It's definitely like that. And, and see with Buddy, that defense believed in him, man.
Yeah.
And I think you got the same thing here with the defense and Vic. They believe in him, and, what he says goes, and you really got the team really believes in the head coach. So, but I definitely think you got some of that right there. You do.
You know what's funny, Gary? We had Dave Wannstedt on. You played for him, of course. We had Dave Wannstedt on Friday. We had Jimmy yesterday, and he brought up the fact of Buddy Ryan. And I don't think people, and again, I think it's been so many years removed, Buddy came down to University of Miami when he got the job in '86, and he came down there because he wanted to meet Jerome. So he took us all out, me, Stubbs, him, Bill Hawkins, and we're watching film, and he goes, 93, what are you thinking right there? He's talking to me, and I go, well, I'm trying to get front side. He goes, well, put your fucking head front side. Don't be trying to cheat, go backside. What do you want to be, him? And I go, he's pointing at Jerome.
Yeah.
He likes running around blocks. He likes taking plays off. And I'm sitting in there going like, this guy's helping us? Dude, I never got ripped more in my life for Buddy, 2 days. Man. Listening to Buddy Ryan tell me what – he goes, what are you looking at here, 93?
Hey, if when they close that door – man, hey, you better just get ready because he's not gonna be mincing words.
He always called me by my number. We always called us by our numbers.
Oh yeah, that was Buddy. That was Buddy. He called you by your number. That's right.
At 93, what are you doing here, man? You gotta move your feet. You don't want to move your feet? Hey, you know what you can do? You can stand there as a statue if you want. I'm going, I am moving my. He goes, that ain't moving your feet. Yeah. And I'm going, come on, 93, you got to show me more. I'm like, what is this guy's ass on me for?
The thing about it, though, is, if you get to know Buddy, though, he's good people, man.
I did like him a lot.
He's going to be there for you, and that's the way he was. That's why those guys love him so much, man. Buddy would come get them, and whatever situation they were in, he was with them the rest of their lives. And that's the way Buddy is,
You know what he did? He must have ripped me for about 20 minutes. I'm walking out, puts his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, you could be a great player. Okay. And I looked at him, I go, wow. He goes, you could be a great player.
Yeah.
He had his 85 ring on.
Yeah.
He goes, you want to be a great player like McMichael? I go, yeah, I like Steve. And he goes, well, just do the right things. You do the right things, you're going to be a great football player. I never forget. No, I made All-American that year. First team All-American. And I got a letter from him. He goes, congratulations to you, man. You listened to me. Because we ran kind of like the 46.
Mm-hmm.
With Dave Wannstedt down there at Miami
That's
with
right.
Jerome
Yeah.
and myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, you're right. I never had a guy kick my ass so hard and then tell me he loved me.
Hey, that's Buddy. He's gonna be honest with you, man. But you get to know him. You know he's trying to help you. You know?
Absolutely. Gary,
Good
I appreciate it. Thank you, my good friend.
All right. Hey, have a good one.
You got it. Garry Cobb here. Yeah, that was without a doubt one of the great lessons I ever got. We're sitting in this team meeting room, and Buddy had come down. I've showed pictures of it. And so he comes down to our practice. Dave talked about it. He sat in the meetings with us for hours, a full week. He had just gotten the 86 job in Philly. And he gets the front four, us. And we're there for 3 days with him. And we're listening to him. 93, what are you doing? 98, what are you doing? What are you doing, 98? That's Jerome's number. What are you doing, 93? You two guys got to be better than that. We were one of the very few times that you had a first and second team All-American and 2 defensive tackles at one time. I'm looking at this guy. Dave Wannstedt's in the back with Butch. Jimmy's in there too. Jimmy and Buddy had a great relationship, believe it or not, until they got to the NFL when Jimmy got there. And we asked him, he goes, hey, you like Mike Ditka? He goes, who? Oh, the tight end. Yeah, he was all right. I'm like, no, Mike Ditka. He goes, who? Yeah, that guy was something else, man. Absolutely great. Xander, you there? We got some supers to read. Anybody in here? By the way, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys so much. One of the absolutely best times I ever had was being around Buddy Ryan. 93. Sit your ass down here. 93. I'm Dan. He goes, 93. Sit down. You don't earn your first name until I can tell you you earn your first name. That's how